So I'm going to give you a chance to answer my question again, because I started with, do you think it was a mistake to release a violent criminal who turned around and injured two sheriff's deputies and held up a little child as a human shield? Was it a mistake?
Thank you again, Senator. Once again, I consider the issues before me. I consider the Constitution of the state of South Carolina, the United States, and the bond code. And
But
I
that's not any comfort to the families of the sheriff's deputies who were shot by the violent criminal you released, and you have a pattern of doing so in other cases as well, including releasing one of the people involved in yet another murder of Kelly Honeywell, a 33-year-old single mother of four who was murdered, shot during a robbery, and you released one of the individuals involved in that.
Picture this. Senator Ted Cruz sitting across from Judge Benjamin at her federal confirmation hearing, and he unleashes one of the most scorching, no-holds-barred interrogations you'll ever see. He's not just asking questions. He's exposing a straight-up deadly pattern. Violent criminals getting cut loose on technicalities, only to go right back out and commit even worse crimes. This isn't some polite back and forth. It's a brutal takedown that lays bare what happens when constitutional fine print gets weaponized against plain old common sense and public safety. In this full breakdown, we're going line by line through the entire confrontation, including the jaw-dropping Alberta Lewis case. Guy's accused of murder, shoots someone in the head, dumps the body, gets released on bond anyway, then allegedly grabs a child as a human shield while shooting at cops and wounding two sheriff's deputies. We're digging into the constitutional arguments, the political fallout, and, most importantly, the human blood on the hands of these decisions. You'll hear exactly why Senator Cruz says there's a clear, dangerous pattern with Democratic-appointed judges putting criminal rights miles ahead of protecting victims. And you'll hear Judge Benjamin try to defend it all with talk of speedy trial violations and sacred constitutional duties. Buckle up. This one's rough. Take a look.
When I look at your record, I see a pattern of doing the same thing. You're very familiar with the case of Albertus Lewis. Albertus Lewis allegedly shot Myra Sanchez in the head and then dumped her body in a wheelchair outside of a hospital in downtown Columbia. You granted Lewis a surety bond in the amount of $150,000. After you did so, it turned out that Lewis was involved in yet another violent incident when police responded to a domestic violence scene involving Lewis, where a woman called 911 saying Lewis had a gun and was setting things on fire. When police arrived, they had to fire almost immediately because of the danger, and they had to go in because Lewis picked up a small child and used a small child as a human shield, in the process causing injury to two sheriff's deputies. Do you think it was a mistake to release a violent criminal on bond when he went out and committed yet another violent crime?
Thank you, Senator. As I previously stated, Mr. Lewis, when he initially appeared before me, I denied his bond. It was not until after the state violated the court's order to try his case. There was issues with discovery missing in the case. And Senator, I'll just say this, the case is still pending. It's a 2017 case. It is still pending. There's issues with discovery in the case, and the defendant was asserting his right, Sixth Amendment right to a speedy trial. That was after 2 years when he initially appeared before me, and I denied his bond. In considering any bond, Senator, I consider the United States Constitution, the South Carolina Constitution, and I have to consider the bond statute of the General Assembly in South Carolina.
Okay, so you just said you did it because of a speedy trial claim. What is the remedy for a speedy trial claim?
The remedy for a speedy trial claim is dismissal.
So you didn't do that, did you?
My consideration was based on him violating the court's previous order of not trying the case. It was
By the way,
not
what's
based.
the Fourth Circuit precedent on speedy trial claims? And isn't it in fact the case that the Fourth Circuit has repeatedly held that substantially longer delays don't violate the speedy trial clause?
Well, I think there's an analysis that has to be done.
Do you engage in that analysis?
Yes, and part of that analysis is that the state has to give a reason as to why they did not try the case. And in that case, the state did not have a reason whatsoever.
You said you engaged in that analysis. Did you write an opinion? Did you explain your reasoning from the bench?
I don't recall. I do not recall, but we do not usually have published opinions in South Carolina.
Well, you know, the court they've appointed you to, that's what they do. And
yes, I understand that.
So I'm going to give you a chance to answer my question again, because I started with, do you think it was a mistake to release a violent criminal who turned around and injured 2 sheriff's deputies and held up a little child as a human shield? Was it a mistake?
Thank you again, Senator. Once again, I consider the issues before me. I consider the Constitution of the state of South Carolina, the United States, and the bond code. And
but you know, that's not any comfort to the families of the sheriff's deputies who were shot by the violent criminal you released. And you have a pattern of doing so in other cases as well, including releasing one of the people involved in yet another murder of Kelly Honeywell, a 33-year-old single mother of 4 who was murdered, shot during a robbery, and you released one of the individuals involved in that. And listen, what I find amazing is the Biden administration claims they bear no responsibility for releasing violent criminals who turn around and murder people. But then President Biden keeps nominating judicial nominees who have a history of releasing violent criminals who turn around and murder people. And every Senate Democrat's going to vote to confirm you, and they're going to go home and tell their constituents, oh, we don't support releasing violent criminals who turn around and murder people, and yet we keep following this pattern over and over again. There's a reason people are very concerned about the safety of their families.
What went down between Senator Ted Cruz and Judge Benjamin wasn't just a disagreement over legal theory. It was a flat-out exposure of a justice system that's failing, catastrophically, and costing innocent Americans their lives. Cruz didn't just score debate points. He demolished the facade with cold, devastating precision and showed exactly why regular people have completely lost faith in a judiciary that seems way more interested in shielding criminals than shielding citizens. His questioning cut straight through the legalese, the bureaucratic dodging, the high-minded excuses, and forced everyone to face the ugly truth. Judge Benjamin's rulings directly put a violent predator back on the street. And when that predator allegedly went on to use a little kid as a human shield and open fire on law enforcement, wounding 2 deputies, her defense boiled down to procedural technicalities and constitutional platitude. No fancy wording changes the timeline. Alberta Lewis, accused of execution-style murder, body dumped, released, then the nightmare sequel. You can't lawyer your way out of that sequence. And Cruz didn't stop there. He hammered home that this isn't a one-off mistake. Look at the Kelly Honeywell case. Another release, another tragedy. 4 children left without a mother. 4 kids. That's not a statistic. That's not abstract policy debate. That's the real, irreversible cost when judges treat public safety like an afterthought and turn innocent until proven guilty into a get-out-of-jail-free card for people who've already proven they're dangerous. This pattern isn't accidental. It's a choice, a philosophy that keeps prioritizing the rights of the accused over the lives of victims and their families. Cruz laid it out plain. When judges do this consistently, communities bleed. Literally. Judge Benjamin can hide behind constitutional language all she wants. The blood doesn't wash off with citations. And the American people, they're watching, they're angry, and they're done pretending this is just the system working. It's not. It's broken. And moments like this, when a senator refuses to let the excuses stand, are exactly why trust in the courts is in the gutter. If you think we need more of this kind of accountability and a hell of a lot less excuses, stick around and hit subscribe, because the truth doesn't need polish. It just needs to be said loud and clear.